So,
Well, cool. Thank you, everybody, for joining. My name is Mike Petroskey. I'm going to be your host today, running through things. I know that it is halfway through the year. I know that it's busy season. So I sincerely appreciate everybody taking the time to be here live. We will send out a replay so that you can send it to your friends and family after all of this fun stuff. But I'm going to get started going through it now. So next 30 minutes or so, and we'll save about 10 minutes at the end for questions. We're going to go through a couple things. One is the mid-year reality check. Tony's going to lead you through 3 of the 7 strategies of what he sees in the top 10% of companies that he's worked with. We'll do a quick business checkup, and then I'll show you how you can see a lot of what we just talked about in your own books in a flash. But to get started, who am I? How did we get here? I partnered with Tony about 2 months ago, but I've spent 20 years in the software industry. The last 6, 4 of the last 6 I spent running the sales team at ArcSite. I see a lot of ArcSite customers here, so you may or may not know me from that time. Most recently, I went out and got my doctorate in the fintech world as the CRO for a $100 million fintech reseller. And as part of that, I was working with Shore Capital and other PE firms working on acquiring specialty contractors and going through that process and really going through the tech stack and the consulting process and the succession planning is what brought about the platform that I built, which is called StashGrade, which Justin has recently joined me to be as a co-founder. Y'all know Tony, but Tony, I'll let you briefly introduce yourself for the sake of the content that we'll put on the web here.
hey, look, most of the guys and gals that's on the call, they know me. 50 plus years. I feel very blessed. I've been inducted in the American Fence Association Hall of Fame this year. And of course, most of you have got a copy of the 7 strategies. We've written the 8 strategies book. We're going to cover 3 main strategies today through this presentation because it ties back into knowing your numbers and what Michael and the team have put together. And, we're very blessed to have, about 60 plus clients. We put probably 1,000 people through training over the years. A lot of you have been through that training. And I'm real excited about this partnership between Thornton Fence Consulting Group and StashGrade because this is something that I wanted from day one as a consultant to the industry, which is a dashboard that really gives you the tools to be able to navigate your operation, be a better business owner, and know what your numbers look like. So that's my nickel's worth.
Fantastic. Cool. So let's get into the mid-year reality check. Take it away here, Tony.
Sure. Well, all of you have heard knowing your numbers. And what does that really look like? Busy is not the same as being profitable. It's so funny to go to Facebook to see these guys talking about I'm 14, 18 weeks out. And I'm always say, how much money are you making? Do you really know what your GPM is, your gross profit margin? So last year's, the graphs that Michael's put here is, last year was $1 million at 180, K profit. This year, 1.25, 90,000. We're not moving the needle. So what we've got to really look at is if we're busy, how much money are we really making? And, your bank account never catches up. You're always trying to see what you got to do to make payroll. No idea what the jobs actually pay you. These are the pieces of the puzzle that I think that Michael and our partnership is going to be able to provide y'all and really give you guys a great tool. And that's what this whole concept is about, is giving you the tools necessary to have the success that you want and quit fighting the day-to-day battles and knowing your numbers and knowing what you need to do. All of us have been there. We've owned our own companies. You're owning your own company at this time, but being busy and knowing what your profitability is 2 different things. And that's what we're going to kind of deep dive into the next 20 or 30 minutes here. So please advance. So we talk about your margin all the time. And if any of you have sat through any of my training, the margin in my threshold of margin is every fence company ought to be able to meet a gross profit margin of 40%. When I say that, it's like, wow, okay, deer in the headlights look. But at the end of the day, we've got companies, a lot of you are doing better than 40% GPM. The margin is what's going to keep your doors open. It's going to pay your team members. It's going to take care of your overhead, all the things that you need to get below the line, which is all those, expenses, it's got to be more than just how much money I'm making, how much sales you're generating. We've got to understand our revenue. We've got to understand our cost of goods. And I would be willing to say that probably 7 or 8 of the P&Ls that I look at, from a consulting standpoint, the revenue is great, but yet we just don't understand what our cost of goods is. And then we got to break that cost of good down in order to get that margin. So I'd love to hear from you. Drop your answer in the chat line down below as to what your goal of margins are. A lot of you are doing 40% gross profit margin and above, but, put a chat in there about how you're doing that. How do you analyze that? So that's to me is one of the most important pieces of the process is understanding what your GPM is. Advance.
I'm going to advance, but Tony, I want to pause for a moment to let people in, but also put your answers in the chat, folks. This is what we're here for, is to share and to care. Let me just see here. Admit. We're in. Cool.
It's unique. Over the last several weeks, I've had 2 consults back to back. And when I asked the business owner who's been in business for 20 plus years, both of these consults, what your gross profit margin is, it's like, hey, my bookkeeper handles all that. But as a business owner, we've got to know that type of stuff, right? So everybody in the industry has a different requirement. You may be in a market that's only going to allow you 35, 38% gross profit margin. Your goal should be to push that. Your differentiators should be outperforming others. But at the end of the day, we've got to focus on that GPM in order for us to understand that we can cover our expenses, grow our company, scale our company, put some money in the bank, and take care of running our operation. So these comments are pretty interesting. Thank you.
Onward.
Yeah, so I love this slide right here. We can't look behind us other than evaluating where we've been, right? Your pricing, your crews, everything, it is what it is. We've got half the year is behind us. But we can take that performance, those analytics, that data that you've collected over the last 6 months, figure out that we're at this point right now. Now, how do we fix or how do we correct? I hate to use the word weakness, but where were our weaknesses in the first 6 months, even the past 6 years, okay? But let's see what we've got to do to fix it and put a process in place, put some strategies in place, and figure out, okay, how are we going to do what are we going to do for the next 5 or 6 months? We don't want to end up at the end of the year being in the same situation where, oh, wow, we didn't do much. We didn't put a strategy behind it. We didn't put any focus on our gross profit margins. We didn't focus on putting the workflows together in order for us to be a better run company. And that's what this slide is all about. Look at the past, take the analytics, look at where we're at, figure out the strategies to fix moving forward to where we don't look in December, at the end of December, January of next year and say, wow, we didn't really do anything. We're just still making paychecks. And we see so much of that going on in our industry is, you're working, you're busting your hind, tail. And at the end of the year, you just look in the bank and say, wow, where did the money go? So that's what we try to do through this partnership. We will be doing through this partnership of handing you a better tool to analyze on a weekly, a monthly, and an annual basis. Advance. So a lot of you have read the 7 Strategies book. We're only going to talk about 3 of those that I think are really important for what we're really diving into from this partnership with StashGrade. So let's get right into it. Your first is define your success. If you've read the first chapter of the book, hope is not a strategy, but most companies chase that revenue. Most companies say, if I can just get more fence in the ground, I can make more money, but we don't look at where our cost of goods are. We don't look at what our GPM is. And if we don't do that, we're not going to be able to build out an efficient workflow. I can tell you that 99.9% of the consults that I've had, a lot of you that have gone through some of the consults with TFC Group, it boiled down to your workflows and your procedures. Were they efficient, and were they equaling profitability? And that's where most of us have the breakdown. We don't have put the SOPs in place. We don't put the workflows in place. We don't do what's necessary to put a strategy together on the front end in order for us to be successful on the back end. And that's what we talk about, efficiency equal profitability. So we do need to chase revenue, but we need to chase revenue with the right gross profit margin. That's what we really tune in on, really focus in on, really shake the branches when we go in to do a consult through our SWOT analysis and other things. So again, the first chapter of the book is hope is not a strategy. You got to have a plan. What is your plan? You know, the common mistake is you don't have budgets, you don't have workflows, you don't have procedures. I use this term all the time. You're running your business by the seat of your pants. It's worked for you for a certain amount of time. I mean, I've known a lot of successful companies that's been able to do that. But I want to ask you this question. If you're running your company by the seat of your pants and you weren't there tomorrow, what would happen to your company? What if you had an accident? What if you unfortunately passed? Those things happen all the time. And your company is just at a struggle mode. So everything that you do has got to be setting up success for the future. And the top 10% of the companies that I've dealt with, the top 10% that I interviewed to write the 7 Strategies book, hope was not a strategy. It was absolute, have a plan, put that strategy in place, get out of your head, put it on paper, share with your team. That way you're going to be able to move the needle for your company. And it's all about that 12-month budget, tracking the product lines. What we're talking about here, product lines, is so many P&Ls just have a revenue bucket. That revenue bucket is everything that you're throwing at your company as far as revenue or sales, but you don't have those categories or those buckets broken out. How much chain link revenue, how much wood revenue, how much ornamental revenue. And then we got to match that with cost of goods to where we can get a real analysis on what the GPM is on each one of those buckets. That's a big piece of the puzzle that we go in and drive home with our business owners. And these last 2 weeks of consults, big revenue bucket, but didn't have any clue as to whether they were making money on chain link or ornamental or whatever. That's one of the biggest tools that you have to drive home. So knowing your margin per segment, per category, per bucket before the job is sold is the way that you're going to build the success and build a strategy and have a plan on that success. Lead generation as a principle, we all know that nothing happens without a sale. So number one is have a plan, don't hope. Number two is build a lead generation platform. What does that look like for you? Leads come from referrals or whoever calls in. When that phone, goes quiet, sales stop. So we call it the call to collection process. A lot of you have heard this. I know my good friend Robert uses this in a lot of his training and consults as well. But when the call happens, that's when we got to start performing. And then from that performance, we've got to maintain that trust, continue that trust, pass on success to the next areas of your company. And that's where that lead has got to, once that lead is generated, we've got to be able to perform better than most everybody else. And the steady pipeline that you've got to build out is what is going to provide you that steady workflow process and generation of opportunity from the time the call comes in to the collection of the money and whatever step that goes along the way. So you got to build a lead generation company to where you can perform well from take the information, pass it on to sales, sales to operations, operations to installation, installation to bookkeeping. It's a 5-step process, but you have got to work on that and put that strategy together through your executive team in order to meet the lead generation requirement in order to keep your doors open and keep moving the needle. The third one, we've heard this till we're blue in the face. Know your numbers. Know your numbers. But the question is, what are the numbers? Okay. Well, to this, know your numbers about direct, indirect, and variable. But I'm going to take it one step further. You need to know that revenue You need to know what those buckets of revenue or categories are. And then you've got to take the time to do the proper bookkeeping on the cost of goods and through your charts of accounts in order to know that, okay, I had this invoicing that went to this chain link job for Miss Jones and Miss Smith. And that way you're going to start getting a gross profit margin based on your P&Ls for those categories or for those buckets. And that's going to allow you to know your numbers. But that's just in the top half. That's just in, your GPM. So if we're focusing on 35 minimum, 40% GPM, then you're actually looking at that, strategizing on that, working with your team, which is a good thing. But then you've got to start looking below the line as to what is my marketing percentages, what is my overhead percentages, and those type things. Now, the national average on closing sales is 3.5 to 4. Okay, so out of 10 jobs, you need 3.5 to 5 jobs closed. If you're closing at 70 and 80%, your prices are too low. We've said that, we preach that, we teach that. Increase your profit, increase your margin by 10, 15, 20%. Slow that process down, and you're going to be better off of it because you're going to double your profit. And I use this as an explanation all the time. I don't need 20 jobs at 20%. I need 10 jobs at 40%. And if we really think about less is more profitable. And it's hard for business owners to say, well, I don't have enough business. I don't have enough work for my crews. Well, what if you cut your crews in half and still made the same money? But more importantly, what if you made more money? That's the key. So the business checkup, that's everything that we've been talking about, is to getting you where you need, okay? The 4 places that I find when we go do these consults is your pricing structure is not there for your GPM, your pricing jobs that you don't even know if you're making money or not, your labor rates are either too high or too low, you're missing the mark on 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours of time that's going to take that job. A lot of us are using subcontractors in the market now. We know exactly what it takes, but yet those that are using in-house sometimes miss the mark. Our material costs sometimes is not, very well managed. We have to look at our relationships with our vendors. We have to look at where we can save some money. Can we co-op and partner with other businesses in our region to where we can buy a container, where we can buy at a better price? And then not knowing your overhead. You can go to TFC Group and download the overhead percentage sheet today. It's a free resource. You plug in all your numbers. It's going to give you an exact cost of your overhead. And we like to break that overhead down as to how many jobs you're going to do annually. And that minute little percentage goes into your cost of goods. So there's only 2 people paying for overhead. It's you, it's coming out of your pocket, or it's your clients. I'm going to push it on the clients only after I establish a good knowing my numbers process in order for us to be able to know what my GPM is and be able to make that money. Anytime that we step into your company, okay, we've heard of SWOT, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I hate to use the word weakness. I like to use the word challenge. But, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats really drives home what we can do about your company. We need to know those weaknesses to where we can put a green check in front of every one of those weaknesses so where we can say, if we fix this, if we put a process in place, if we put a workflow in place, can we be better at what we do? So this is what we pull out. And what we're going to do through that is look at this StashGrade process on what that looks like and what your books can tell you from a fractional CFO standpoint of what it's going to do for you. So the next section of this is going to be Michael explaining what StashGrade is, what dashboard can do for you, what I've always envisioned being able to provide to not only defense, but to the defense industry and us be a better company for it. And I'm really excited about this partnership and what Michael and Justin is bringing to the table. So, Michael, I'll turn it over to you. Let's talk about it.
Let's do it. See it in your own books. So I'm going to show you a sample company here in this demo in a moment. You can sign up at stashgrade.com/signup or just go to stashgrade.com. You'll see the sign up all over the place. But we are going to I'm going to poke around in 3 areas that Tony kind of touched on here that StashGrade does well. When I'm done, I'm going to stay in there for a second. If anybody has any questions, wants me to click anywhere, I'm happy to do that. But really, this was built to be a diagnostic tool for Tony, right? Like he comes in, he's following the same process every time with y'all. And what that inevitably involves is a lot of translating data from what's inside here down into the spreadsheets and the questionnaires and all that fun stuff. So I've digitized a lot of that for the next generation of Tony Thornton clients. But what I also did is like your data tells a story about you. I'm going to go through what the QuickBooks data tells about this fictional demo client. But the more things you can connect, your CRM, your Gusto, your payroll, like the more things that you put into the system, the smarter it becomes. And when I say smarter, what it allows you to do, like I'm sure all of us are using AI in our life or in our business in some point, it always comes down, like the effectiveness of it is 2 things. 1 is the data that you feed it. 2 is the algorithm and what it tells you to do. But where my business and Justin's business really comes in beyond the diagnostic here is helping you then, if you decide to move forward with like fixing challenges that you have, whether it's in bookkeeping or the tech stack or how you've set up the cost of goods in your CRM or whatever, that's where our value comes in. This tool is the diagnostic that gets you in that directionality. It's up to you whether or not you want to take the next step to actually fix the problem. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to go up here. You do 2 things to get this dashboard in StashGrade. 1, you put in your email address, and then 2, you connect your QuickBooks, and it'll bring you here. I'm going to refresh this just so we have the most up-to-date data on the demo system. It's going to give you a grade on your business, and you can see right now we're at a D+ here. I've got profitability, cost discipline, and cash and break even. You know, if you don't know what any of these terms mean, everything is clickable and it's designed to be like your fractional CFO, someone who can actually give you the financial education to understand what your books are telling you. I know we all probably, click into QuickBooks now and again to check on things or whatever, and we throw all the receipts in a paper bag over to the bookkeeper. But StashGrade is designed to like give you the insights about what these things actually mean. And it's giving you a score of how well you are or how good you're doing in the business, and then tells you how you can actually lift your gross margin like Tony was just showing in that slide there, right? Like take your lowest margin fence type, raise the price. We don't need to raise the price on the high margin stuff. We need to do it on the low margin stuff. And all of this comes back into an analysis feature, which if I want to click on this, we can ask the robot more about my data and learn more about everything. You'll see that these 2 things, growth and forecast and operations, need more data. It's because I don't have a CRM connected into this. I can connect to Job Nimbus and Jobber today. If you have something that you want to put in there, let me know. I can spin up integrations and then get all of your data in there. And again, this comes down to the analysis or the algorithm side of it. It's able to translate data, whether it's from Job Nimbus or Jobber or some CRM I've never even heard of, extrapolate the KPIs from it, and then throw it in and put you up against the benchmarks, which we see down here. These are the KPIs. This is a much enhanced version to like the screenshot that I initially sent Tony, where I said like, hey, if I could do this and give you these KPIs for a customer just connecting QuickBooks, do you think that would be valuable to the business? And the answer was like, hell yeah, let's go, right? So that's how we got here today. But you can see, right, on our gross profit margin, we're kind of going up and down over the last year. But right now we're in the green. We're in the green on the overhead. Net profit, fantastic. Green, a little bit of a yellow on here. So if I click onto that, again, it's going to tell us that crew labor is a share of revenue. It's down 27% over the same period last year. We can change the widget, and we can go deeper in analysis if we want to understand what changed on that side. A chart that shows your revenue by month versus what was happening last year. Again, this is all out of the box. It takes about a minute for the QuickBooks data to become imported and then create all of this. And then it's going to give you some additional data that it can extrapolate by like revenue by product category, cost of goods. A lot of the times what will happen in the system, and like I'm not calling anybody out here, but for every customer that we've connected so far, it flags stuff and says, hey, you need to set up your QuickBooks the correct way. We recommend having, this above the line, this below the line. Like, we need to do a better job of assigning labor costs and all that. Again, like, actually doing that kind of work is where the value of StashGrade services comes in. But if there are things that we're not going to make assumptions where the data isn't strong enough to tell us one way or another. So there's tons of opportunity in here if you just want to connect and see everything. Your reputation and online presence. This is, it's taking what the reviews keep saying. When you connect it, it's going to read from your email address, your website. It's going to look at your Google reviews. It's going to look at your online presence, and it's going to tell you like how many reviews you're getting per month, because we know all of these things are important when it comes to your lead generation, that sort of thing. And then down here, like, to go deeper, right, we got to connect the job software. We got to connect the payroll tool. Like, the more data that you feed it, the stronger and more accurate it becomes. Cool. So that's the dashboard. That's right out of the box that you get when you connect. The second thing, I don't know how many people are familiar with this tool called Rocket Money, but what Rocket Money is it's a little software app. You connect your credit cards to it, you connect your banks to it, and then it goes through all of your data and it categorizes things, so like where you're spending things, but it also flags things for you, like, hey, you're paying for Netflix twice. Hey, you got 2 Xbox Live subscriptions. And then you can press a button too, and it'll go through and help you reduce that spend. We have the same feature built in here. So we're going to look at spending by category. And the really cool thing, this is a demo account, so I don't have a very fun story on that, but I do have a customer that signed up last week. He goes through this exact thing. He sees that one thing worth his time, and it says that, hey, you've double paid an invoice, right? Very similar to this one here, but it was 15 grand. And he's like, yeah, I found an error, guys. Like, it says that I paid this invoice twice. And we're like, oh, okay. Can you go show us the QuickBooks so that we can figure out why the system would be saying that? He goes in. Sure enough, he paid Lowe's twice on an invoice in February. Recovered 15 grand in 15 minutes using StashGrade. So again, like, this is looking at thousands and thousands of transactions, as much QuickBook data as you have, and it's reading that data to help provide you insight about where the money's going and if there's anything that you can save your money on. Cool. I said there were 3 things I was going to look at here. The dashboard and the spending tab, I think, are extremely valuable for anybody who signs up. And again, not again, but this is we have a freemium model. When you sign up for it, you'll get 7 days of like the full suite, everything that you see here. After that point, like, AI costs us money. So as much as I would love to give it for free for anybody, you're limited in what the AI will tell you about the business, how much data we can retain, and all that fun stuff. But there also is a subscription that you can sign up to if you want to continue down that path. But what everybody wants to know, and this is one of the things where we came up with a diagnostic tool, and the more we talked to customers, the more it became obvious, is like, if you have a business today, at some point in the future, you want to be out of the business. You want to hop on the old fishing boat like I do and like ride off into the distance. In order to do that, you need a succession plan. And I know that Tony works with a lot of you on your exit strategy, but like, succession planning is, I'm going to give it to a family member or somebody close by. I'm going to give it to a competitor or a complementary tool out there, or I'm going to sell it to, a buyer who's in the industry to do this, private equity, whatever. In order to do that at the price that you want it to be, you need to start planning for that today. Right now. Like, you need to understand your numbers, and you need to understand how those people evaluate your business. That's where it comes back into like what Tony is doing with you, understanding your numbers and your KPIs and working on fixing that. But that's where this idea of the investor room came in. You see this little beta tag, that should be gone tomorrow because we're getting the final data that we need in order to make this really, really accurate. What I don't want to do is to say, hey, you can click on this and get an idea of what your company's worth. But that's the whole point, is to get like a high level range of what your company's worth. And this is going to be based off of actual data from actual transactions by private equity buying companies. So let's take a look at it right here. It's going to give you the main metrics that any investor or acquirer of your business is going to look at. Gives you a range of what your business is worth. It's going to tell you what's behind it, and then it's going to make some suggestions on how you can fix it. Beyond that, again, like while we have developed this diagnostic software tool, we are a services business. So you can see here, fixing all of these things is going to cost between 8 to 12 grand. Let's call it 10K. And you're going to add 41K of value when you sell the business. Gives you a range of what it's going to cost to fix each one in each one of the key areas. And then, succession planning, that comes from Tony. Advisor team, again, Tony. So there are things with prices with what StashGrade ops, StashGrade services can do. And then there are our key, coaches in the business that we will refer to for everything else. Beyond that, you can get a full exit readiness. You can put your targets in there so you know when you're ready and good to go. To understand, like Tony said, if you took 4 weeks off tomorrow, what would happen? This is important, not just because of like a thought process on your side of like, yeah, I should really think about that. But like, that's literally what you're going to be asked when you start shopping your business around, which when you go through this whole process, you can get a diligence pack. You can get a little teaser if you're in the market to start throwing this out to somebody who said, yeah, I'd be interested in talking about, your business. This will give them a teaser, a one pager that they can take a look at. And it's valuable for you too, as well. Right. So take advantage of it while you can. So those are the 3 things that I wanted to show you in StashGrade. Before I jump anywhere else, does anybody want to see anything, questions, thoughts, feelings on this?
We did field a couple questions in the chat, just in case anybody isn't following along. People did ask if it connects to Sage, which I said right now, QuickBooks, FreshBooks, and Xero was the answer. And then we also asked about the offline version of QuickBooks, the non-online version. So I said, for Instant Sync, you need the online version, but you can export and import the data via CSV from the desktop version as well. That's already fully built in and functional. So just in case people aren't following in the chat, those questions I thought were valuable to the group.
I think you're saying that I wasn't following the chat. No, I wasn't. But if whoever asked the Sage question, can you tell me if that's Sage 100 Contractor, 300, or Intact? Then I can build that as the next integration.
50.
Okay.
Sage 50.
Cool. Great. All right. Back to it. That's the StashGrade side. And here we are at the end. Your next step for everybody here, right? Sounds like most of you are working with Tony. So keep working with Tony. Read the book. Go get a checkup consult and reset. And if you haven't already, go to StashGrade.com, connect your QuickBooks or import your export from QuickBooks Desktop. I'll get on Sage 50 and respond to you as soon as I have it. But like, hey, get out there and get some value out of it over the next 7 days. Go save some money. See if there's anything that you can fix in the interim. Cool.
Hey, Michael, are you going to send them the TFC link in order to provide them the sign-up capability?
Absolutely. And anybody who's a TFC customer, I'll automatically assign to you, because there's also additional stuff that you've probably already done with Tony, but that you guys can work through as well, like your intake form and your tech stack questionnaire and all that. Because you feed in the data from QuickBooks, a lot of that can be pre-filled in, and now it's completely digital. And if you assign Tony as your consultant, it allows him and you to check in on this in real time when you're having your checkup conversations every month or however often you do it.
Hey, I'm really excited about this. Michael, thank you so much. Justin, thank you for all the work that y'all put into it. At the end of the day, we all need to be more profitable. And this is just one more of those success tools that's going to allow us to know our numbers and do what we need to do to move the needle on our company growth. It's going to scale. It's going to give you all the inside that typically, a consultant or a coach is going to bring to the table for you, but it's going to give you a more consolidated look, and it's going to continue growing with you, okay? I mean, let's face it, I'm a kid from Mississippi. This is way over my head, but I knew what I wanted on the other end, and Michael and Justin has been able to deliver that for, those of you that hopefully will, go try it. So try it. You'll probably like it. And we're here to help. We're here to support. We want you to be profitable. We want you to be efficient. We want you to run a company with less stress, less headache. Let's make it fun, So anything that we can do for you guys, please don't hesitate reaching out to us. All of my information's here. The website's available to you as well. Don't hesitate reaching out to Mike or Justin for any comments or thoughts as well. So, Michael, I'll let you finish it up.
Hey, you did a great job. Thank you, everybody. Again, I know how busy it is, so you taking out the time means the world to us. If we can be of any help, please don't hesitate. Go check it all out, and we're happy to take feedback and direction.